Hey ladies, my name is Sharzad Morgan and I wrote this book for you, sharing my own journey as a woman, my sexual experiences in my life and my insecurities and what I discovered and something about relationships. So I just want to share some things with you that you might find helpful. I think that, I'm in my 60s. I was married 25 years. I have 3 children. And I'm also a sexual woman. Um, Guys, don't leave any comments thinking you can get with me because I'm not interested. I am not interested, okay? But this video is for the ladies. I want to talk about relationships specifically in this video. I mean, I'm educated. I love following, the economy and politics and business. But I'm also very interested in relationships and sex and some of the tabloid gossip stuff. I don't watch TV, but a couple of the relationships that really interest me are T.J. Holmes and Amy Robach, and J.Lo, Jennifer Lopez, and Ben Affleck. And just now, while I was having dinner, having a glass of wine, I was just trying to see what was going on with them, and their relationship really breaks my heart. It breaks my heart for her, and that's what I want to make this video about. I also follow what's going on with Harry and Meghan, but Jennifer Lopez really tugs at my heartstrings because I myself have been in situations where I was looking for love from someone outside of myself. So this isn't to bash her or anyone, but you will have to get the history of their relationship on another video. But women were emotional creatures, okay? And we experience life through our emotions. Like Dr. Robert Glover, the author of No More Mr. Nice Guy and Dating Essentials for Men, which I will make a video about that very soon, explains that women aren't complicated. Like we like to feel things. We want to be connected with our emotions. We're feeling creatures. And so a lot of times we can get misled intentionally or unintentionally by men who are able to captivate our emotions. And the number one thing I'm going to warn you guys about, and this is what Ben Affleck has. I feel bad for him, by the way. He's this very wounded guy, but he's got charm. And charm is a red flag. To me, I've already determined that charm is a red flag. Charm is an act. It's not who people are. People can be funny, they can be engaging, they can be interesting, but charm is an act, and it's an act that's easy to fall for. It's easy to fall for charm. So that's where we have to use our mind, ladies. We cannot just go on our emotions. We have to use our mind. Charm is an act. Love bombing is an act. So you get these guys, and I don't want to pick on Ben Affleck either, but I'm not going to pick on him, but he appears to me as a very unhappy person. Always has seemed very unhappy. This very charming guy. His body is freaking on point, okay? His body is freaking hot. He's a very attractive, charismatic man. And of course, people are drawn to him. When I saw him in movies, I was like, I wish I could fuck this guy. I wish I could ride this guy's cock. I wish I could be lost in his arms. He's charming and attractive. But he's very, very unhappy. And if you allow yourself to fall for charm and attraction, you will never, never, never be happy with a person like that. That's what I want to tell you. Charm and attraction can engage us emotionally, but we also have to use our mind, ladies. We have to use our mind, okay? That's why even if I get horny, I'm not going to just fuck some guy. I'm not going to do it. I use my mind. We have to start using our minds and notice where, like, these emotional hooks come in. Because the emotional hooks are natural for charm and attraction, but they're also emotional hooks for some women, for men who treat them badly. or, you know, who are abusive to them or who neglect them. Those can all be trauma bonds. And I think haven't delved into what Jennifer's and Ben's childhood was like, because the type of relationships we go for and how we behave and what we accept comes down to three things. As I've learned, studying about relationships and couples, is what we saw, you know, like our parents interact or other couples interacting, what we saw, what we experienced, and what we were allowed to do, and nobody stopped us. So if I got into their childhoods, I would be able to explain more why they turned out this way. But you've got Ben Affleck, this very charismatic, good-looking guy who really love bombs. In the beginning, you know, love bombs. But unlike a narcissist who then just devalues you, he gets lost, you know. He escapes into alcoholism or affairs or drinking. He feels trapped. He easily feels trapped. So I'm not going to make him wrong, okay? This is his thing. Then he starts feeling trapped, and he's miserable, and he's got to drink. But she's fallen for his charm, and she's hanging on. She's trying to get more of that charm because she needs his charm to fill her up. Okay, she needs his charm to fill her up, and he initially was filled up by her beauty and the newness, but then he needs the alcohol and the gambling and the other women. Like he had an affair with the nanny when he was married to Jennifer Garner with their 3 kids. So here's the thing. A relationship is not a solution to a problem. A relationship is not a solution to a problem. And fortunately for me, I did some therapy this summer for 3 months with this very wonderful therapist, Katya Lovejoy. Katya Lovejoy. And you can look her up. She has a website. She is in San Diego. And I had never done therapy before. I mean, my ex-husband and I had gone a few times to solve a problem, you know, and it was good. But I'd never gone to therapy before because I don't have any mental health issues. Okay, believe it or not everyone has mental health issues. But I was like, I had some loose ends around my marriage, and it had been 10 years, and I still had some resentments. I'm like, I like men, but I haven't dated in 10 years. Like, I have some loose ends. And I met her at a yoga nidra event, and I'm like, you know, I want to work with you. I did. And through working with her, like I told her in the last email, I finally have come home to myself. But I've realized I don't want a relationship. I don't anymore. And I feel really complete about my marriage. I don't have any more resentments against him anymore, finally. That's not to say I wouldn't go out with someone, but I'm no longer looking for it as a solution to anything. And the problem comes in when people start looking to a relationship to fill something inside of themselves. It never goes well because, you know, in the beginning, everything is new, everything is exciting, but then in order to have peace in our lives, we have to be with people also who feel full and complete inside themselves. All right. And so a lot of people are better off without a relationship or better off doing some therapy first. The fact, you know, what kind of puzzles me, to be honest, is you have these celebrities. They have so much freaking money. Millions, hundreds of millions. And they haven't, the therapy that they've gone to, if any, the rehabs that Ben Affleck has gone to, I don't know if J-Lo has gone to any therapy, but it's very sad that even though they have all this money, that they have not had any effective therapy. Because in my opinion, if you have effective therapy, and in my case, I just did 3 months, you might need longer, you might need less, you really come home to yourself. You really start to feel like a peace in yourself. And there are different, very effective therapies that are not just talk therapy. That doesn't work. You've got to do somatic experiencing or hypnotherapy. body kind of modalities or trauma-based stuff like Gabor Mate talks about. But what I want to say, ladies, is that anytime that we're looking to another person to give us something we don't have in ourselves, I mean, they can momentarily give it to us. You know, it can be like a really great date, or, oh, I'm so happy he texted me, or he fucked me so well. But never, that's all very temporary, because the newness wears off and then we're back to where we were. And then, you know, relationships require compromise and, you know, being giving, and they also require the ability to repair after disagreement, because people will disagree unless they've repressed all their disagreement. Okay, how do you handle your disagreements? How do you repair? Where do you go to for comfort? If you get in a fight with your significant other, where do you go for comfort? Are you able to comfort yourself, or do you need to turn to alcohol or something unhealthy which makes your relationship worse? Then when people start drinking, their behavior really changes. It's not that good. We cannot, in my opinion, look for solutions in relationships. Relationships can be fun, like let's walk next to each other like we do with our friends, you know, let's be friends, let's enjoy each other's company. They require us to grow, they require us to compromise. They're not for the faint of heart, but I think a lot of times people go into them because they feel empty inside. They feel lonely or bored or empty. You know, they want some attention, some validation. It's totally healthy to want those things. I like attention. I want to feel desired. So that's where the same-sex friendships are really good. Or, you know, like, okay, I feel full in myself, but I still like to, you know, gain the attention of the opposite sex and say hi to people. I feel really sad for Jennifer Lopez because she thought that Ben Affleck getting back together with him would make her whole. But you can never ever be in a happy relationship with someone who has all those problems, who is an alcoholic, who's not happy. The guy is not happy. He's not happy. He wasn't happy then. He's not happy now. And I think that she's fallen for his charm, and it's all emotional and it's trauma-based, or maybe not knowing. So charm is a huge red flag. Charm. Meghan Markle has a lot of charm. And just from talking to men who've fallen for, and watching YouTube videos of men who've fallen for like these very hot women, like the Instagram models or the very charming women, you know, they might be fun to look at, but they can make your life a fucking miserable hell. We have to get away from falling for people simply based on their looks or their charm. Ben Affleck, I wouldn't want to be in a relationship with him. Meghan Markle, she's very beautiful, but she's, you know, cunning, evil, bad. Prince Harry is probably not any better. T.J. Holmes and Amy Robach, you know, I mean, if you're gonna, guys, if you're gonna cheat on your spouse, you should at least do it with a professional. Like, go get a massage with a happy ending or something like that. Or go see an escort. Don't have an affair on your spouse. Keep the emotions out of it. You should focus on your relationship. And I was married 25 years. I never cheated on my husband. He never cheated on me. I think it just caused a lot of drama. And now there you have two people that were, you know, they have a lot of money, but they're very selfish, in my opinion. Anyway, who are the other people I was talking about? All these people having affairs or thinking, you know, of course, a relationship can get old. It can get boring. And I don't have the answers for you. You know, some people have affairs, but you're not going to find you're not going to find lasting happiness. Okay, that's what I want to say. You're not going to find lasting happiness in an affair where you destroy your family, or with some guy who's charming, or some guy who's hot, or some guy whose cock you like to ride, or some guy who's giving you attention, or some guy who's, you know, buying you things. It's not going to cause lasting happiness if you're not already happy in yourself and he's not already happy in himself. Another thing that some of these guys do is this thing called love bombing. They do a love bombing because they're empty inside and they get the thrill, you know, they finally meet somebody and then these men are like super excited and they give you all this attention, they swoon over you. I had a friend years ago who was dating this guy who he turned out to be an alcoholic. But she introduced me to him and he said, ever since I met your friend, I haven't been drinking. It's been 30 days because he was on this new relationship energy high. New relationship energy, NRE, look that up. He was on a new relationship energy high. And so he didn't drink because he had the high from the new relationship. But then, you know, it was no longer new and it was no longer that exciting. And a few months into the relationship, he didn't show up to the airport to pick her up when she came back from a business trip. So she got a cab and went to his house, and he was passed out drunk on the kitchen floor. And this was a very successful guy, by the way. So that's what I mean. New relationship energy. People will act different. And a relationship can change. You know, who were you before you met this person? How do you cope? Where do you go for comfort? You know, I just think that too many people look for happiness in a relationship, but the happiness has to be inside of yourself. I want to tell you guys that I am so relieved because, let's see, in May, it will be 10 years that I've lived alone. No relationship, okay? And it was only like a month or two ago when I finished working with my therapist that I got to the point where I don't even want a relationship anymore. Now, I'm not saying this is true for you. I'm just talking about myself. All this time until then, I wanted one because, you know, I like being married. I like being a mom. I like being a wife. I liked so many aspects of my relationship, but the sexual aspect of my relationship was very unfulfilling. And so when the kids were older, I couldn't be with him anymore. Okay, this is all in my book. But I kept longing for like this passion and this really great sex, and I thought it would make my life better. And, you know, I never met anyone and I felt kind of disappointed and like something was missing. And I was reading so many books about relationships. If you look at my older videos, just go 3 months back. All my videos were pretty much about relationships. I was obsessed with it. I took couples counseling courses from Terry Real. I kept reading books about relationships. I was helping my friends with their relationships. That's why I started doing the therapy. I'm like, something seems off here. Like, I'm so interested in relationships, but I don't have one, you know? And it turns out when I got really honest with myself, I realized that I don't need one. I may never have one again. You know, times have changed now, you know. I'm at the point where I don't need one, and they no longer seem to offer me something that I don't already have. Relationships no longer offer me something I don't already have. But I know people who are happy in their relationships. I think relationships are a wonderful experience for growth, for personal growth, because you're forced to consider other people. You know, it expands your awareness and being aware of other people in your home and what they want, and compromising and resolving conflict. Like, they expand us to grow emotionally, and then especially if we have children, like, that is such a beautiful, beautiful part of life. Now a study came out that shows that 80% of women who don't have children not because they didn't want them, but because they never found the right guy. There is no right guy. If you want to wait for the right guy, you might miss out on having children. My husband was a great guy, but he wasn't perfect. I married him even though he had these 2 flaws that I wasn't happy with, and those are the reasons I left him. He wasn't interested in personal development, and the sex was really bad. But guess what? I decided to marry him anyway, and I had a great 25 years of wonderful experiences with these 3 great kids. He was a really great dad, and the sex was never good, and he was never interested in personal development, you know? But it's very rare for people to meet the perfect partner. But my ex-husband was a solid guy. He was always respectful to me. He was always nice to me. But he wasn't perfect, and neither was I, okay? So I think that instead of looking for charm and, charm and looking for, how rich is this guy? How charming is this guy? It's just like, if you're going to be in a relationship, I think just be with someone who is, who excites you sexually a little bit. My ex-husband did. I was attracted to him, and who's got his life together reasonably well emotionally so that he doesn't make your life worse. Charm and hotness are not good. Avoid men with charm, drinking problems, mental health issues, liars. Look for men who, start thinking about plumbers, electricians. Look for men who are, people-oriented, honest, good energy. They get up in the morning, they go to work, they have good energy. Good energy is very important. Men are happy. Look for a guy who's happy. Ben Affleck is not happy. He's so depressed. Look for a guy who doesn't need to drink to have a good night. A guy who's happy with himself is going to be a lot better than a guy who's super hot, super charming, and rich and miserable. So what if he has a few extra pounds, but he's happy with himself? He comes home and he helps you with the kids. He changes the diapers. He's got good energy. But above all, I think that we can't think of relationships as a solution to a problem. And that's what I think a lot of these celebrities do. And because they are like under the microscope, we really get to see, what's going on we really get to see what's going on. And I think we can try to learn things from them. TJ Holmes and Amy Rohrbach thought it was really great to have this really fun affair. Well, then when it all came out, they ruined their marriages. They lost their careers. I don't think they're that excited about each other anymore. Don't go... If you're going to have an affair at the office, at least do it with someone you want to really be with. Don't just do it because it's fun to sneak around and you like to fuck around. Because you could lose your job. You got to think about the consequences. Because affairs add drama. If you're going to have an affair, any guys who are listening, go hire someone. Don't cause drama in your personal life, in my opinion. Who else? Harry and Meghan. Harry grew up super fucking entitled. Don't raise your kids to be entitled is all I can say from that. And Meghan, she's just like cunning, bad. Cunning, evil. She's a cunning evil disguised by her fading beauty. And who else was I talking about? J-Lo, TJ Holmes, Harry and Meghan. That's it. Anyway, if you guys want to check out my book, it's on Amazon. A lot of people liked my book. Some people said it was pathetic. But the sex in my marriage was not that good, and so I was like, I'm single. I can just go around and fuck guys now and have good sex. But what I didn't realize is another thing, ladies. You might want to check out Louise Perry's book, The Case Against the Sexual Revolution, because so many women are just going around fucking for free. And I think if you're going to do that, you should get paid for it. If you're going to go around fucking, you should get paid for it because men will pay you. And I think in the majority of cases, women are having sex with men because they like the guy. And men are doing it just because they can. So a lot of women do not realize the power of their feminine energy in their female bodies. And so I am very opposed to hookups. I myself don't hook up at all. I do not see the value of it. You know, if you read my book, you'll find out that, you know, guys can just go around like, oh, you know, that was really fun, you know, and then they just disappear. They don't appreciate it. You know, okay, this is what I want to say, ladies. If you're going to have sex with a guy, just realize that there's a 99% chance you will never see him again. So if you're okay with that, go for it. That's okay. That's best advice. Know that you may never see him again because men are capable of that. You know, they're just fucking you because you got tits and you have a vagina with beautiful pink parts and they want to get in there and it's very attractive, but it's not personal. They don't really care about you. So that's why, but women will only have sex with men that they like. So you have to understand the difference between men and women. So that's my other tip for ladies. I guess in wrapping up, my motherly advice would be, do not look for a relationship to fill you up emotionally because they can temporarily, but then they will cause you a lot of pain. Do not look to a relationship to fill you up. Okay? That there will be pain, guaranteed. Okay, when you're coming from emptiness, it will be guaranteed pain, because when that relationship, you meet someone, it'll be great, and then when they let you down, and they will, you know, just like we let them down, it'll be very sad. You'll be very, very sad. Number 2, don't fall for charm or attractiveness or the emotional things that men give us, how they talk, what they say, how they're charming. Look for how they actually treat you. Look for what they actually do. Look what kind of life they have, what kind of friends they have. Are they intentional? Are they focused? You know, what kind of man is this? You can't get swept up by the emotions because men know that we're emotional creatures and the con artists will use that against you. You can't fall for the charm, the attractiveness, and the words. You got to keep your brain going. And if you're going to fuck a guy, realize there's a 99% chance you'll never see him again. So, you know, if you're okay with that, then you can hook up. Else I would wait until this guy is in a relationship with you and you've vetted him. If you just want to go fucking around, you can, but just realize that you might as well get paid for it. Because in the past, I have gotten paid for it. So that's why I know. And men will pay a lot. If you want to get curious, like I get curious sometimes. Like I look at the ads of escorts on different sites. Just type escorts and you'll see, you know, 500, 1,000 an hour. And all these women are just doing it for free. Like why? You know, you have to know your value. So if you, unfortunately, good therapy costs money and not everyone has the money. So I don't know what to tell you if you don't have the money for therapy. I don't know what to tell you, honestly, because just like from watching YouTube videos and following people on Twitter, there are a lot of people who struggle with their feeling love for themselves and feeling full inside. And, you know, meditation alone isn't enough. Really important to acknowledge your feelings and validate yourself and find comfort in yourself. And I don't know how to help people do that. So, but just know that if you're coming from a place of lack, anything you do to fill that void is futile. And in the case of Jennifer Lopez, look at what she's done with her life. Let's finish up with where we started. Is, you know, she says she spent, you know, 20 years pining after him after he broke off the engagement. And she filled the void with other relationships and other marriages. And then when they reconnected, she was so happy. She said she was so happy when she was in the bathtub and he got on his knees and proposed to her. She felt so happy. And you know what I'm going to suggest? That it was relief. It could have just been relief. She talks about the first time when he proposed to her, and this was like 30 years ago or something. He had the whole house covered in flower petals, and she had never been so happy in her life. But it could have just been relief. Because if you don't really love yourself, or you have a void and someone gives you that feeling of love, it's just like a relief. Or it could be joy, but it's not real, because the guy's an alcoholic. He's not happy. He looks miserable. So, I think we have to be very careful, ladies, who we get into relationships with. And one more thing, and who we have children with. I am very fortunate. My marriage wasn't perfect, but I had a very good father for our children. He's a solid man, okay? Very good father for our children, and they turned out very well. But if you have children with a guy who, doesn't work, or is an alcoholic, or is abusive, or neglectful, or lazy, or depressed, or whatever, it's going to make your life fucking hard. And that's why we women have to be so choosy who we have sex with, because we can get pregnant and the guy can just fuck us and leave. We're the ones stuck with the kid. We know this instinctively. And having a child alone is very difficult. Children are very needy of emotions, time, and resources. And, it's like having a puppy that's always barking. If you want to know what it's like to have a baby or child, imagine having a puppy that's not potty trained and he's constantly, like biting your shoes and wanting to play with you and being all playful and sometimes just tearing things up, and you got to teach him, you got to train him, even when you're tired, even when you're hungry. And, you got to take him to the vet and spend money on him, and you can't spend money on yourself. Like, it requires a very solid person. It's very helpful to have a partner, and even more helpful to have family to watch the kids once in a while. And women have to be very selective in the men whose penises we let into our vaginas, because the consequences are very real. Now, I'm a very sex positive person, but, I was always choosy about the men I was with, pretty much, unless they paid me. And then I was choosy. They had to be respectful, and they had to pay me, or they had to be a boyfriend, but they had to be respectful. And fortunately, I only had children with my husband, so that was really good. But I think a big problem in our country is that we do not offer, in our country, we don't really care about people like we say we do. Or we say we want democracy, but we don't give a shit about people. That train wreck in Ohio, that railroad company last year paid out $10 billion in stock buybacks, meaning they took $10 billion of their profits to buy back their shares, thus increasing the value of each share, which is good for the CEOs and the shareholders. It makes them look better on Wall Street. It's good for the executives. But that money should have gone to the employees and to the maintenance. If you go on Breaking Points, which was the number 3 podcast last year, Breaking Points, with Crystal and Sagar, I love their show. They had a guy on there from that town in Ohio who owns a dive bar. He was like a journalist too, I don't know, but he acted like a journalist, but he was in his kitchen. He also owns a dive bar. And he says that the people in the town have been talking for a long time about how the train company wasn't doing the maintenance on the trains. So, accidents do happen, but there was some negligence there. And the government doesn't give a shit. Both parties, the lobbyists run the country. So, I don't think they really care about people. Likewise, our politicians and our media are beholden to the big pharma, the military-industrial complex, and Wall Street. That's who they care to represent, whose interests they represent. They don't represent the interest of you or me. Although, we have more rights than people in other countries, but let's not pretend that we're in this perfect country. And they don't help the homeless. If you watch the videos on YouTube about the homeless and going in downtown San Diego, I've watched the videos about downtown Portland, downtown LA, it is very, San Francisco. Dave Rubin did a thing about San Francisco when he was at Twitter headquarters to meet with Elon Musk. You walk outside and the whole thing is littered with people on the sidewalks and shooting up and living in little tent areas. The government doesn't really care. They're not doing anything about it. And they're not doing anything to help people who have addiction issues or mental health issues. And that's very sad, because I know a lot of people with mental health issues don't want help, because I used to try to get run like a coaching business, and I would offer free coaching to people. And like my reach at the time on my social media was like 30,000 people. And I might get like a one-off who might do one call. A lot of people don't want to change, okay? But there are people who do, and they want help, and they can't get help because it's very expensive. Like my therapist was $250 per session. So it was $1,000 a month. Now I could afford it, but that's a lot of money for a lot of people. And insurance doesn't always cover it. This one that I work with, she doesn't take insurance. A lot of the good ones don't take insurance. So what are these people supposed to do? So that's why I think YouTube is really good, but you can't just listen to things. You have to take different action. And all these years of watching YouTube videos, I never got beyond this whole thing, my thing with men. It wasn't until I worked with this therapist that it all became really clear to me. And this one-on-one attention that she gave me, and really where I learned to trust my feelings, feel safe in my body, really learn to trust my feelings, was the biggest thing I got out of it. That was the biggest thing I got out of it. And then I realized that my true feeling was that I like being left alone. I love being left alone. And I got this book on shadow work. Here. This book, Existential Kink, is not a BDSM book. It's a book on shadow work. And I got very intrigued by the shadow work and finding my shadow. And I started finding like all this relief and all this freedom. And she had recommended this book to me. But I wish that I could help more people. But another thing I learned is that like the parts of me that I don't have to repress, parts of me, like the parts of me that love to watch Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck have a horrible relationship. It's just like, I own that part. I love to see that they're struggling in their relationship because I don't have one. And there's a part of me that enjoys watching it. But if you watch that stuff and you pretend you don't like it, then you're going to feel like repressed. So you got to make friends with all those different parts of yourself in order to gain freedom. Like the part of you that likes drama, the part of you that likes to get angry, the part of you that likes to be superior or get attention, like all those parts, the part of you that likes to be left alone. Once you start making friends with all those parts, you start to find a lot of inner peace. Also though, and this is a book I'm reading now. I'm going to make a video about this for the guys coming up. This is a lot about mindset, getting out of your comfort zone. So in order to have a successful life, we have to watch our thoughts. Like our thoughts are not just automatic. We can choose our thoughts. It requires a lot of self-awareness. And in order to have any kind of growth, we have to do things that cause us anxiety. That means anything new. Get out of our comfort zone, do new things, challenge ourselves, you know? Anyway, I don't make as many videos as I do anymore. I no longer read the comments, so you guys can hang out in the comments, write whatever you want. I'm like, you know what? If people want me to read my comments, they should just pay me. I'm sorry. I have it just for fans where everybody I'm just so used to people paying me to talk to me. And a lot of the comments are not really that nice. So I'm like, you know, if people want to talk to me, they can just pay me. I am providing free entertainment. I don't want to engage in the comments anymore. And some of the ladies who watch my videos, you know who you are. You can email me. I would love to know how you're doing. I don't want to ignore you. And some of the guys, like Philosophy Junkies and also Sunbox, and those are some of the ones I remember. There's some other people too who've emailed me in the past, and we've exchanged emails. You can email me, let me know how you're doing. But that's just for the people who are like friendly in the, you know, because other guys who will email me and they want stuff from me, and I just block those people. I don't want to engage in the comments anymore, because I value you and what you have to say, most of you, but YouTube is not a platform that makes me want to engage in the comments, because they don't screen people. You can use any name you want. You can say whatever you want. And because YouTube doesn't create a delicious commenting space, I don't want to participate in it. If YouTube created a yummy commenting space where people were like, you know, sharing ideas and experiences and insights and talk to me the way they do in real life, I would love to hang out in the comments again. Because one thing I noticed is that I started noticing when I worked with my therapist, the difference, and ladies, this might help you also, the difference between people who, in my real life and people on the internet, and how I had such a different feeling about people, especially men, because in my real life, they're very friendly and they say hi to me, and, you know, like, it just feels safe and wonderful. Whether they're at the gym or, you know, in my neighborhood or at the grocery store, you know, or they're holding the door open for me when I'm walking into a restaurant, or, you know, the bartender serving me dinner when I'm sitting at the bar, like, they're all wonderful. But on the internet, so many men are incompetent, socially awkward, rude, cold, entitled, mean. And I started having a bad feeling about men, you know, the manosphere also, based on those experiences. And I started becoming aware that those were internet men versus real life men. Now, the internet men in real life might be nice, but there's something about being anonymous on the internet that brings out the nasty in people. Not the good, sexy nasty, but like the creepy nasty, repulsive. And so I decided to not make myself available at all anymore on the internet. And ladies, you might find that too. Start noticing the difference between internet interactions and real life interactions. It's very important, because if we start thinking, in my opinion, that the internet guys are representative guys, we are going to have a negative view of men. There's certain people that are like to throw out toxic behavior anonymously. They would never say, you know, like, they will say things on the internet that they would never say to you in real life. They'll try to get with you, you know, they want to get things from you or put you down. Like, toxic behavior is available. But in my real life, I can't even remember the last time a man was toxic to me in real life. I can't even remember. I don't even know if it's ever happened that a guy was rude to me in real life. But on the internet, it's a constant. And so I think that for, like, feeling happy, ladies, is to remove ourselves from any men having access to us on the internet. So I don't have an Instagram. On my Twitter, I only follow ladies and certain, like, journalists and stuff. And so only people I follow are allowed to message me. I don't have a Facebook. I no longer read the YouTube comments. So now, and that's probably another reason I feel happier, is because I'm not getting bombarded with things that upset me or repulse me or make me angry or irritated or annoyed, because the only people I interact with are people that, you know, in a business situation from my work, or people in my real life. And so that has been very helpful. I think that people, we cannot blend the internet world with the real world. There's a lot more joy in the real world, getting out. And also another thing that's helped me a lot, ladies, another tip is to have female friends. I'm really nourishing like these female friendships I have. I've made like 3 new female friends that I'm spending more time with, talking on the phone with. There's something about bonding with the women, and for men, bonding with the men, being in men's groups, having male friends. Those are really ways to fill our cup. Stay off the internet. Have female friends. If you're going to date, stay away from men who are charming or hot or play on your emotions. Instead, use your brain. How are they treating you? What's their life like? What are their friends like? What are they up to? What are they passionate about? Do they actually care about you? Are they love bombing you? Are they measured in their response? Are they intentional? Are they focused? What's important to them? And I think that kind of, how do they treat, where do they go for comfort? How do they handle it when you tell them no? How does this man handle it when you have a disagreement? Can he ever admit that he's wrong? Is he controlling or is he respectful? Does he relish in your freedom or does he want to own you? Is he interesting? Is he exciting? How do you feel around him? And so I think I just summarized it like pretty well. So this is a long ass video, but I guess, hey, I can make it as long as I want. And if people don't like it, they can just turn it off.